Good evening, Patriots, and welcome to the Raw Feed. I'm Gary Franchi, coming to you live from the heart of America, where the truth still matters and the swamp creatures can't hide. Tonight, we're streaming to millions worldwide on YouTube and simultaneously broadcasting on Rumble and X because big tech can't stop this signal. And if you're watching us on YouTube right now, follow us on all those other platforms. They're our insurance policy against censorship. Now, what makes Raw Feed different from every other show out there? Well, it's simple. We don't just talk at you, we talk with you. Your live chat reactions, your real-time thoughts, your voice matters here. We're going to be reading your super chats and Rumble rants between every segment, featuring them on screen for the world to see. So send them in right now, even before we dive into tonight's explosive topics. And I just saw one come through from Stella. Hello, J. Ray P. $4.99. Thank you for that. Now send them in, and you might see your message light up the screens across the globe. And also share the stream right now. Text it to your friends. Bypass the algorithm completely. Yes, I'm serious. That is the most effective means of bypassing the algorithm because it's you who have control over who watches the show. And for our ex-viewers, repost the show to your followers. Now, we need every patriot watching because tonight's news affects every American family. And if you want to keep the truth machine running, you can check out our merch shop at shop.nextnewsnetwork.com. We've got Alligator Alcatraz, President Otto Penn, and our American Badass series. We're your favorite news source with pride and trigger a liberal at the same time. And if you want to support the show privately, you can hit those donation links in the description. Every dollar helps us fight the information war. You can also join our YouTube channel memberships. Each level comes with unique perks, so get special acknowledgement in the chat room, unlock exclusive access to the Next News team, behind-the-scenes uploads, because you're going to want to see my little journey to Texas that's coming up this week, in fact. Also, if you want to join our members-only 24/7 Discord, that's what membership gives you, and that's where the chat and conversation never stops. Now, let me take you back to August 4th, 1987. It was this day the FCC abolished the Fairness Doctrine, the rule that forced broadcasters to present balanced coverage of controversial issues. The establishment said it would destroy journalism. Instead, it gave birth to talk radio, cable news, and ultimately the independent media revolution that we are a part of today. So just like then, the establishment's trying to control the narrative again, but this time through mental health screenings, fleeing legislators, and Russia hoax cover-ups. Tonight's show is explosive. We've got the smoking gun emails proving that Hillary Clinton and George Soros orchestrated the Russia hoax from day one. We're tracking down Texas Democrats who literally fled the state to block redistricting while their constituents drown in floodwaters. Oklahoma just declared war on woke teachers with mandatory America First certification tests, while Illinois wants to scan your kid's brain every single year. That's right. And Trump's economic earthquake is reshaping global trade with $100 billion in new tariffs, and the week ends with the left's complete collapse, as even CNN admits that Trump is the century's most influential president. Now, mainstream media wants you to forget what real journalism looks like. They want you compliant, uninformed, and afraid to ask questions. But you're here because you refuse to accept their lies. You're here because you know something big is happening in America, and you want the unfiltered truth. So buckle up, patriots. Pour yourself a cup of liberal tears, get comfortable, and prepare for the only show that gives you the news the way it should be. Raw, real, and revolutionary. This is the Raw Feed, and the next couple hours are going to change everything you thought you knew about America. So let's get started and welcome you to the show. We got Halo Second Amendment, Stella here. We got Curio, Sure You, Patricia, John Mitchell, Michael Jones, Karen Finley, Patriot for Truth. Nancy Pelosi's liver is in the house. We got Lori Ollivant, Looney Rooney, Michael Jones, Chino Jr., Betty Lester, Scontech. We've got Donald Parker. We got D-Man 216. Who else is in the house tonight? We got Bruce Pyatt. Who else is here? This is your moment to shine. Karen Myron is here. Overeducated in the house. Raymond Harmon. Overeducated SP. And let's see who else is here. We got our Brad, Redneck Newsin, Gorian Lady, the one and only Ron the Don. We got David Malton, Indifferent, Arrest O'Biden is here. We got Kenneth Frasher. We got John Horse. Hello from England, mate. All right. Hello, mate. We got Karen and Sean Caulfield, Slay Amber, Southern Girl 1455. We got David. We got Andrew, Broken Vulpix, Shannon Little, Shadow Watcher, Jeremy Olson, Bruce Pyatt dropping $10. Right on. And speaking of super chats, let's acknowledge our first super chat of the evening before the show even kicked off. We got Stella. Hello, J. Ray P. Thank you for that $5, Stella. And, of course, Bruce just dropping his 10. So we're already $15 ahead. And the goal tonight is $100. Can we break that? Oh, and we got Jesus Christ Gospel with Alec Cox. Canada's for sale. Hillary is dust. USA is winning. Trump is in the driver's seat. Is in the driver's seat. Damn, it's great to be an American that speaks English. Amen. All right, so we're now $20 ahead already. $80 away from hitting our $100 mark. Wait, another one just came in. Cali Patriot just dropped $5. What's up, Cali Patriot? $5. Thank you. So now we're right at $75 away. Okay. So unless you have any more super chats that you want me to read, we do have to get the show on the road with our first trivia question of the evening. The first topic, I should let you know, is going to be about the Russia hoax. Okay, this is the stuff that we've been tracking, and we're going to continue to track until we see handcuffs on these fools. Which 1970s conspiracy involved forged documents to frame a presidential candidate? Was it A, the Canuck letter, B, the Canadian bacon caper, C, the maple syrup scandal, or Operation Poutine Papers? Am I saying that right? I don't know. Poutine Papers? All right. Well, I think you guys only know the answer to this one. So I'm going to get those answers after the segment because I want to see what you guys come up with because that's what matters here. You. Let's jump into it, Brian. The smoking gun just got dropped, and Hillary's fingerprints are all over it. New emails between George Soros' right-hand man and a Clinton campaign advisor spell out their conspiracy in black and white. Now, this wasn't opposition research or dirty politics. This was a coordinated attack on our republic, and it makes Watergate look like jaywalking. They had a plan. They had the media, they had the intel agencies, and they thought they'd never get caught. But now the receipts are here, and Stephen Miller's calling it exactly what it was, a coup. The Pulitzer Prize Committee gave awards for lies while the real criminals walked free. Until now. Stay tuned. Now, if you're getting close to retirement or just thinking ahead, you've probably done a solid job of saving. But here's something most people don't consider. How much of that money is just sitting in cash? You might feel safe, but holding too much cash guarantees only one thing. You're losing purchasing power. Inflation eats away at it, and the dollar's value keeps slipping. That's why more people are looking at real assets like physical gold and silver to protect their savings. Noble Gold Investments, my friends over there, they make it easy. Visit nextnewsgold.com, and when you own real assets, you have real wealth. That number on the screen, 877-646-5347. When you give them a call, tell them Gary Franchi said hello. Okay, so we're going to jump right into this because I know you want to know the latest. We're finding out that the CIA director, just a few hours ago, says that he and Kash Patel will be declassifying even more documents. And this is only the tip of the iceberg, what we've seen. A, the links that the FBI went to amplify the Steele dossier. B, how they buried the counterintelligence referral memo. And we've got his actual remarks on Fox. Listen.
Is there more to come from either you or FBI Director Patel? Are there more shoes to drop that we should be looking for?
Yeah, there are, Trey. So, people need to understand that, there is no Russia collusion hoax file cabinet at the FBI or at the CIA. We have to look for these documents, sometimes that are well hidden. You have to go trace through emails and look for signs and clues that would point you to. That's how I found John Brennan's notes, and that's how we found additional documents. I've talked with FBI Director Patel. He and I will be declassifying additional documents that show just how sinister the FBI was in amplifying Hillary Clinton's Steele dossier as real and credible to be included in the intelligence community assessment, but also in how they buried the counterintelligence referral memo that I mentioned before, how they went to great lengths to try and keep that out of the intelligence community assessment. So there will be more to come, and I think that people should expect that the Trump administration will continue to shed transparency and light and truth, again, because, Trey, there is no question, this was the greatest political scandal of our lifetime. No one wants to see this happen again. It derailed our country. It derailed President Trump's presidency, his first 4 years in office, and it really is a stain on our country that should never happen again, and Donald Trump is committed to making sure that it doesn't.
Okay, so I'm going to just say this. Listen, I'm ecstatic that all this is coming to light. I'm ecstatic that they're sharing truth and light and transparency. But what I want to see is perp walks, okay? I want to see these people in orange jumpsuits. I want to see mugshots, okay, on the front page of newspapers nationwide, okay? I want to trade in my coffee mug here with Donald Trump's mugshot to the one that has Hillary Clinton's mugshot on it. Can we do that, Mr. President? Cash? This is what people want to see, okay? We saw too much of this. It's time to see more of that, all right? So we got more from Stephen Miller. I want to bring up a clip here that was just brought to my attention. Stephen Miller, one of my favorite members of the administration. Here's Stephen Miller talking about the Russia collusion hoax. And this is just about 24 hours ago.
It was the Russia collusion hoax against President Trump remains the single greatest hoax and the greatest assault on our democracy in the history of this country. There's no comparison. There's no parallel to anything else. It was a coup. And I'm using that term literally. It was a coup to overthrow a democratically elected government, a coup carried out by the intelligence apparatus of this country, by the deep state, by Hillary Clinton and the Democrat Party. The new information that has been revealed by the Director of National Intelligence and by the FBI eliminates any scintilla of doubt about the intention, the premeditation, the planning and orchestration of this conspiracy. It meets all of the criminal elements of a seditious conspiracy against the United States. It meets the criminal elements of an insurrection. It meets the criminal elements of a conspiracy against the government and the criminal elements of a conspiracy to deprive citizens of their civil rights under color of law. One egregious felony after another. And because it is a conspiracy, as demonstrated by the forethought of realizing and documenting that they understood that this was fake from the beginning, meeting the mens rea standard in law. Because of that, because it is a conspiracy, every single individual actor is now part of that conspiracy. So that includes Brennan and Clapper and Comey and Hillary and Schiff and everybody else who knowingly and willfully perpetrated this plot, this coup, this conspiracy, this scheme against President Trump and the government of the United States. And now is the time and the hour and the moment for accountability so that we can reclaim this democracy, Maria.
Now, the only name that he brought up there that had a preemptive pardon was Adam Schiff. None of those other folks, as far as I'm aware, don't have preemptive pardons that came out at the end of the Biden presidency. Another point I want to make is that we've heard Obama, right? Obama's made a statement calling this, I'm not going to sink to the level of responding, but then he responds, calling it just malicious disinformation. We've heard from Brennan because, of course, Brennan is a contributor to MSNBC, and, he's already talked about lawyering up. We've heard from Clapper. Clapper's already said he's lawyering up, but we still haven't heard any, as far as I haven't seen anything from Hillary, or Comey officially, or I mean, Schiff has already made his statements, but he does have that preemptive pardon. But of course, that pardon could possibly be challenged if he faces an indictment through this. He could throw that pardon up and say, "Well, I'm pardoned," but then we'll say, "Well, President Autopen went ahead and signed this, so it's null and void." Right. So there's a lot of things, a lot of dynamics at play here. But Stephen Miller hitting the nail right on the head. Also, we have this from Jonathan Turley. This just came out 2 hours ago, talking about the Russiagate grand jury. Now, listen very, very carefully.
To the media, this is the first necessary step to finding out about the real Russian conspiracy. There never was a Russian collusion conspiracy. That was hatched by the Clinton campaign. They secretly funded the Steele dossier. They denied that to the media. And they laid out this very successful political hit job using the media, using the government. It's amazing how much the public still doesn't know. But in the last few weeks...
Well, I want to say, he said it was successful. I mean, how successful was it? The man was reelected again by the grace of God. So, I mean, successful in maybe causing headaches, distractions, and roadblocks in his first administration, and of course afterwards, but ultimately was not successful because President Trump finished out his term. He was robbed of his rightful second term, which was taken by Barack Obama by proxy through Joe Biden, the puppet president. But now he's here. He's our president now. In hindsight, he's winning all day long. So my initial reaction to that, but I'm going to roll it back a hair.
Successful political hit job using the media, using the government. It's amazing how much the public still doesn't know. But in the last few weeks, this administration has given us information that we haven't seen before. I've been following this, writing about it for years. Some of this is new stuff, and it's startling. This is the first necessary...
New stuff and startling. Now we have this. Emails from the VP of the George Soros Open Society Foundation and Julie, a Clinton campaign advisor, stating this will be a long-term affair to demonize Trump. Now, we brought this up last week when the document dropped. Of course, it's still simmering in the news cycle, so we have to pay attention to the language that's being used and how the media is presenting this. But we do now know that it was Julianne Smith who was the brainchild behind this entire action, and Hillary Clinton went ahead and took that to her people, approved it. Barack Obama executed it. So let's go to Fox News' latest on this.
The documents contain emails, allegedly, from the senior vice president of the George Soros Open Society Foundation. He quotes a Clinton campaign advisor saying, quote, "It will be a long-term affair and to demonize Putin and Trump," and adds that, quote, "Later, the FBI will put more oil into the fire," unquote. Other emails reveal Hillary Clinton approved the idea of tying Trump and Russia to election interference. And that was a scheme hoping the allegations would distract people from her own email scandal. These documents provide clear evidence that Hillary Clinton's campaign was behind the Russia hoax and that the FBI knew what the Clinton team was up to, acknowledging that the info they were receiving about the Trump campaign may have come from the Clinton camp. Despite this, the Obama intel community forged ahead with their 2017 assessment, concluding that Russia aspired to help Trump win the election. The documents contain emails.
Talk about election interference, right? We couldn't even talk about election interference on YouTube. We couldn't claim that it was a stolen election. But all throughout the 2016 administration of Donald Trump, that's all we heard. Let's go to the Pulitzer Prize angle.
It's being told about.
And here's Molly.
Breaking news.
Here's Molly Hemingway from the Federalist.
Had the breaking news over the last 2 weeks with all of it coming out about the Russia collusion hoax and how that was completely invented, not just by Obama's spy chiefs, but it was handled by the media to increase tensions between Russia and the United States. And we've had all sorts of news breaking about how that hoax went down, how many people knew that they were lying when they falsely claimed that Russia had interfered in the election to help Trump. I mean, this is a global power that you don't want to have lies being told about. And our media were engaged in nothing but lies on that topic for years. They won Pulitzers for telling lies about the Russia collusion hoax. And now that we have all this news coming out about what really happened and that they were lies, that they were knowing lies, that people within the government were trying to stop these lies from being pushed out into the public square, now the media aren't really covering it at all, even though it's like the most massive story ever about what we're learning in the last couple of weeks.
I would just point out.
And that's because the media was complicit. That's why they're not covering it. And if they are, they're not covering it honestly, because they were carrying water for Hillary Clinton and the intelligence community to overthrow a sitting president. So, I mean, we should add to the list any of those individuals who amplified that lie. I mean, look at what Turd Tapper's doing now, right? He lied to our faces, lied to every American's face when he said that Joe Biden was sharp as a tack, and now he comes out with a book claiming, oh, yeah, we knew. Right? Well, now do the Russia hoax, Tapper. Anyway, let's hear the reaction from this.
That I have absolutely no doubt that the Obama administration politicized this, but there was a special counsel in the first term, John Durham, who ended up not bringing any charges against Obama, John Brennan, these other people.
But how your viewers should know that there have been so many documents that have come out in the last couple of weeks from.
But Durham had those documents and didn't bring any charges.
No, he actually did not investigate as well as should have been done. And there are so many more things that have come out, particularly from John Brennan and James Clapper. New documents showing that people, and I broke some stories about this at the Federalist, showing that people within those agencies were actually screaming from the rooftops, you can't make these false claims. And they had their jobs threatened, or they were told that there was secret intelligence that they didn't know about. I mean, this is really horrific stuff and major news. And it's why the media aren't trusted, because they're willing to lie about things like this. And then when the truth comes out, they don't cover it at all.
So this is now tied.
Yep, that's how it is. Who remembers when Hillary Clinton pushed the Russia hoax? Remember this flashback?
That
This is
a sign.
This is Hillary Clinton, September 29th of 2020. Look at her face, beaming with glee.
It is a sign of such desperation by the Republicans, and it also is a reminder that Donald Trump knows that the Russians helped him win in 2016. And that is almost the biggest reason he wants to, go back to it time and time again, because he can't come to grips with the fact that there will always be an air of illegitimacy around the 2016 campaign. And he also is always trying to change the subject, trying to somehow cast aspersions on anyone. I happen to be one of his favorite subjects for aspersion casting. But mostly it's just pathetic. It is
I mean, what's really pathetic is the fact that people actually voted for her and they believed her lies. And she divided a country. She divided families. She divided friends, pushing the lie. And she just sat there with a smug smile on her face, glowing, knowing she's lying straight to that camera on MSNBC, September 29th, 2020. And that's why she belongs behind bars, because she perpetuated the hoax over and over again. Let's go to John Solomon. Just a few hours ago, he's demanding what I'm demanding, saying if we don't see action on this Russia collusion hoax, well, listen.
The MAGA base, and I'm talking about the people that, how do we...
So, of course, he's sitting here with Steve Bannon. Steve Bannon's about to open up.
Get maniacally focused on making sure something happens here? Because I'll tell you, if we don't stick the landing on this, and when I mean landing, I mean some indictments, right?
Yes.
And some perp walks.
Yep.
You're going to lose 5 to 10% of the hardest core of the MAGA base, and I'm talking about the people that canvass, that walk these districts, that knock on doors, the Scott Pressler crowd, right? You're going to lose them, and if we lose them, I don't care if we've redistricted 12 seats. We're going to have a tough time hanging on, because people, they on this one, They think it's egregious enough, and they agree with you, and they agree with the President of the United States. This is the greatest political crime in the history of the nation, sir.
Yeah. Well, listen, I think it all rests with making sure that the Justice Department sticks this, that it resources it right, that it gets the right people in here. The great thing about the strike force, you don't need to have Senate-confirmed people on a strike force. Get the best prosecutors, the best agents they can find. The roadmap has already been built. Kash Patel wrote the roadmap, the grand conspiracy case. But there's lots and lots of work that has to happen very quickly. For instance, you've got to, if you're going to bring the case in Florida, like what some people have been thinking about, you got to create the research work to see, was Jack Smith looking for Russia collusion documents when he went to Mar-a-Lago? Everybody says it, including Devin Nunes and Kash Patel, but you got to find those documents and put them out there. You've got to assign a grand jury. You got to start bringing people in. You've got to do like what Jerry Dunleavy did this morning, which is, all right, Hillary Clinton's out there the last 5 days on a propaganda thing. This is Russian disinformation. I never approved any plan. She admitted to proving a plan. Go through her book. Go through her speeches. Go through the op-eds her staff wrote. They were so proud of what they did back in 2017. They bragged about it. That is impeachable material. That takes time to do. We have an 8,000-word story today, basically the signed confessions of all of the Clinton team admitting they did this, even though now they're claiming they didn't. But that's what prosecutors also have to do. We have to demand that Pam Bondi give us regular updates so that we can not just hear that a strike force has been named, but who's on it? Where's it being worked? Where are the first subpoenas? If we don't see action, it isn't just losing 5 to 10% of the MAGA base short term, which I agree with you. You might even lose more than that, Steve. But long term, if we don't punish the behavior that we now know exists out there in its most egregious form, the temptation to do this the next time Democrats are in power is going to be enormous. You are going to handicap the future of this country and destine it to be a banana republic because the Democrats got away with it this time. That's the stakes are even higher than losing the MAGA base.
And that's why we have to make sure that they don't get away with this and that indictments come down. Now we have this from the Morning Joe just a few hours ago. Morning Joe wants you to let go of the Russia hoax. Of course they do.
2016.
To believe Donald Trump's version of this event.
Yeah, but I agree, Mika, with what Kenny said. Like, why keep going back to it? Why keep muddying the water when you have Marco Rubio in the Senate Intel Committee, your own Secretary of State, saying Paul Manafort and the 2016 Trump campaign posed a, quote, grave counterintelligence threat to the United States of America. You have John Durham admitting that there wasn't a Clinton conspiracy, that actually the two emails at the heart of that, even though he spent the entire report trying to prove this, in the annex, he hides it in the annex. And, well, yeah, the two key emails were actually most likely products of Russian disinformation. Like, move on. Get past it. The only people talking about Russia right now are Tulsi Gabbard and others to try to distract from other things. It's not a winner for Donald Trump. It's not a winner for John Durham. It's not a winner for people in the House. I mean, look at Donald Trump. He is president in large part, whether you agreed with the charges or not. He's president in large part, and he will say it himself, because he sat at a defendant's table throughout the summer of his political campaign. This does not work politically. It always ends up blowing up politically in the face of the people who are going after the other side. That's why Tom Cotton's saying, the Hatch Act, seriously, give us some facts here. The Hatch Act?
Yeah.
That's all you got? It's just a losing political proposition.
To believe Donald Trump's
losing political proposition. Man, he is carrying a lot of water for those guilty parties. Here we have some more from Stephen Miller, who's not going to let this go.
Focusing on the cost is incalculable of having the entire security apparatus of this country focusing on the hoax instead of the real national security threats facing America. Right. Lie after lie after lie that was told to the American people, preventing us from actually solving our relationship with Russia, preventing us from actually developing security and independence from all of our adversaries around the world, dealing with these big geopolitical questions. Instead, we were consumed endlessly by the same hoax, the same lie. And the charlatans that engage in this conduct are beneath contempt, they are without dignity, and they are beyond redemption. What they have done, you can't even measure the harm that it inflicted. The cost
the harm is immeasurable, and it's not over yet. If you got value from this report, tap subscribe. My final thought is next. Now, why does this matter? It matters because it proves what millions of Americans suspected all along. The entire system was weaponized against Trump and against you. When Hillary Clinton can orchestrate a multi-year psychological operation using the FBI, CIA, and mainstream media to destroy a sitting president, we are not living in a republic anymore. We are living in a banana republic where elections are just theater and the real power operates in the shadows. John Solomon warned us, if there is no punishment for this, America is finished. The fact that journalists won Pulitzers for pushing these lies while the truth was buried tells you everything about how deep this rot really goes. So here's my question for you. Should Hillary Clinton face sedition charges for orchestrating this Russia hoax? Yes or no? Let me know in the comments. And while you're fired up, check out our merch shop. It's linked down below where you can wear your truth on your sleeve. And you can trigger a liberal today at shop.nextnewsnetwork.com. All right, let's see what we got here. We got some super chats coming in fast and furious. Wow, we're already at $64.97 after our very first segment. Okay, so it looks like we have Cali Patriot, 79, dropping $5. We got Curio 23. What do you call a nanny with breast implants? A faux pas. A faux pair. Nah.
How dare you?
And then we have Stella back. Stella Artois. Let's go, friends. Time to bury the deep state. Yes, it is time. 1999 from Stella. And then we have this from Lori. The sound of clinking handcuffs and cell doors slamming is the sound I want to hear. Yes, as long as we're on the outside of that, right? And then we got Karen Myron dropping $10. This has broken up families and lifelong friends in the country as a whole. The devastation is so great. We need perp walks, trials, and jails. And then we have Faranger Xbox. Americans approved to work in Russia were placed in a very hostile environment, made worse. I know first person. $5 from Faranger Xbox. Thank you for that support. Okay, let's get to our answer from our trivia question. Wow, it was the Canuck letter. You guys were right. Nice. The Canuck letter was a forged document used to sabotage Ed Muskie in 1972. Fake news isn't new. All right, moving right along to our next topic, fleeing the scene. Yes, that's what Democrats are doing right now in an attempt to redistrict certain states. And wait till you find out who's the willing accomplice. But first, our trivia question. In 1840, which legislators fled to avoid voting, jumping out of windows and breaking quorum? Was it A, Illinois Whigs, including Lincoln, 2, the Boston Balcony Boys, and B, the Boston Balcony Boys, C, Kentucky Kangaroo Kickers, or D, the Vermont Vampire Voters? 1840. Man, that's a tough one. The Boston Balcony Boys? I don't know. You guys are going to have to vote on this one. No cheating, though. Okay, we're going to move into our next segment here because this is just outrageous what's happening here. Okay. Let's see here. Okay. 50 Texas Democrats just pulled the most cowardly stunt in political history. While their state drowns in floodwaters, while emergency bills sit unsigned, while constituents beg for relief, these legislators hopped on private jets to Chicago. They're sipping champagne with Governor Pritzker while Texas needs rescue boats. But Governor Abbott just dropped the hammer. Second-degree felony charges for bribery are on the table and now arrest warrants. These aren't protesters, they are fugitives. They took money to abandon their posts and sabotage our republic. The deadline is ticking. They return or face removal from office, or even worse. So this is not about redistricting anymore. It's about whether elected officials can literally run away from votes they don't like. Let's keep on watching. While Texas Democrats flee their responsibilities, Texans are dealing with real challenges that affect their health and well-being. As we age, our body's collagen production declines, leading to visible signs like wrinkles and sagging skin. By our 40s, collagen level drops significantly. That's why I've relied on Ageless Multi-Collagen for years. Yes, they've been a sponsor for that long, very long time. And we thank them for that. And they include 5 key types of collagen from 4 premium sources, perfectly blended into peptides for your body to absorb faster. Plus, every order helps feed hungry children through nokidhungry.org. Get 51% off at healthwithgary.com with free shipping and a 60-day guarantee. Take control of what you can control, your health. Okay, it is now officially going down. Pay attention. The Texas House has just passed a motion to issue arrest warrants for Democrat representatives who fled the state. Listen to this.
Chair hears nays, the motion prevails. The sergeant at arms and any officers appointed by her are directed to send for all absentees whose attendance is not excused for the purposes of securing and maintaining their attendance under warrant of arrest if necessary until further order of the House. Members, under the rules, while the House is under a call, any member who wishes to leave the hall must have written permission of the Speaker. The Chair is providing written permission to be entered in the journal for each member registered as present on today's roll call to leave the chamber and return tomorrow at 1 p.m. Please return at the appointed time. Mr. Guerin moves that the House stand adjourned until 1 p.m. Tuesday. Is there objection? Chair hears none, and the House stands adjourned. Nays, the motion prevails.
Looks like they got till 1 p.m. tomorrow to show up. The sergeant at arms issuing arrest warrants for the AWOL Democrats hiding out in Chicago and New York. So, breaking 911 posts, when redistricting occurs in blue states, it's equity. When redistricting occurs in red states, it's un-American. Oh, yeah. Here is Dime Store Obama, Timu Obama. Listen to him.
50 states. We have to make clear to the people of Texas what's taking place.
I mean, Hakeem Jeffries here, like literally, and all of the House members all gathered around him. This is gross.
We have to make clear to the people of Texas what's taking place, because it's unacceptable, unconscionable, and un-American. And as elected officials, we have that responsibility. That's not something we can just brush aside. There are 50 states in America. I'm here in Texas for a reason. Because these legislators are standing up. These members of Congress are standing up and communicating to the people of Texas what's occurring right now in the middle of the summer at a special session. And we will make clear that we're going to do everything possible to support the Texas legislators as they consider the best ways to push back. It's an all-hands-on-deck moment, and all options should be on the table to protect the people of Texas. But Texas Democrats are going to be the ones to decide that. We will fight them politically. We will fight them governmentally. We will fight them in court. We will fight them in terms of winning the hearts and minds of the people of Texas and beyond. The Texas Democrats are going to show up and stand up and speak up for what's right for the people of Texas. And they're showing courage and conviction and character in doing that. And we'll see what happens over the next few days, over the next few weeks. But the one thing I know is clear, that Texas Democrats are fighting for the people.
Yeah, but they are supposed to show up for the vote. That's the problem. And they're supposed to vote in, for their constituents, right? I mean, isn't that how it works? Not fleeing the state. Okay. Here is some more obstruction in their efforts to retain control of power. Texas Democrats in the House have fled the state. In doing so, they're blocking any chance of passing desperately needed flood relief legislation in Texas. Instead of staying in Austin to do their jobs, they took private jets to Illinois to focus on fundraising for the midterms. Shame on you, Democrats. Texas Democrats blocking flood relief legislation. Yeah, so while Hakeem Jeffries stands there in Texas and says, oh, yeah, they're doing this for the people of Texas, what about this bill? Blocking the legislation for flood relief? I mean, who can remember the devastation that just occurred? Nope. Apparently not those Democrats that decided to go and hang out with Governor Pritzker in Illinois. Here we have CBS News Texas. Listen.
Republican. Breaking news now in your Eye on Politics, a move to block Texas's congressional redrawn map plans by Republicans. A blockage now underway. State Representative James Tellerico out of Round Rock announcing that he and more than 50 of his Democratic colleagues in the Texas House have left the state. This comes ahead of a scheduled vote for tomorrow in the Texas House on the redistricting proposal. No quorum, no vote. That's how it works. Remember, this redistricting push was added to the special session called by the governor, and it has been heavily criticized as a political power grab led by President Trump. Well, the redistricting proposal would shift representation essentially in some sections of North Texas. The map on the left, for example, shows how districts in North Texas are currently drawn. The map with the proposed changes on the right. Well, this morning on Eye on Politics, Congressmember Julie Johnson talked about how the area shaded in orange on that map, District 32, it's the area she serves, how that area would be impacted.
In Texas 32, they put Carrollton and paired it almost to the Texas line with Louisiana. 150 miles, a 3-hour drive from one end to one end. It's a deep stretch to pick up so many pockets of community colors here in our urban areas and just marry it out there. Communities have different needs. Urban areas have different needs than rural areas.
Now, analysts say the proposal could allow Republicans to pick up more, at least 5 more congressional seats. Attorney General Ken Paxton responding to this break in quorum, the Democrats leaving the state, saying Democrats in the Texas House who try and run away like cowards should be found, arrested, and brought back to Austin, to the Capitol, immediately.
And, of course, the arrest warrants have now been issued. Let's continue here. Texas Democrats fleeing the state. Here's another man's take.
To try to stop the Texas Democrats are now fleeing.
This is consciously. Let's listen to him.
The state amongst Texas Democrats are now fleeing the state amongst their latest effort to try to stop the redistricting bill. Like I've been telling folks, this is going to start the domino effect. You smoking dope and dog food, if you believe what happens in Texas is only going to spread to California before it spreads like wildfire throughout the country. And today's move will almost certainly set off a nationwide redistricting arms race that threatens to upend the 2026 midterm election map. Stating it simplistically, this move will deny the quorum that follows Texas red people trying to unveil the new congressional map that will provide the party with 5 new red-leaning districts, ironically what the orange man asked for, as a part of an effort to boost the GOP's chances of hanging on to the House after 2026. They figured out in a few months of this man being in office that he done pissed off everybody, including his base. Now they trying to rig the game to make sure they keep their grips on. And research over me search when I say...
Okay, yeah, enough of you. Obviously, you don't get the point. We know it's the team you're playing for. Here we have Jason Whitley explaining what breaking the quorum actually means.
There's some big political news this Sunday afternoon here in Texas. Democrats have fled this state and gone to Chicago. We're specifically talking about the Democratic members of the Texas House of Representatives. They flew to Chicago this afternoon. They're planning on a 7:15 news conference this evening, and they're going to have the governor of Illinois, J.B. Pritzker, with him. Why are Democrats doing this, you might want to know? Well, Democrats are denying a quorum. They're breaking quorum, essentially not letting the Texas House of Representatives meet on Monday, as it was scheduled to do at 3 p.m. on Monday, so the House could actually pass these brand new congressional districts. They're reshaping what the congressional districts look like in the state because President Trump wanted Texas Republicans to do that. Texas is the largest Republican state in the country, and President Trump is afraid that the Republicans will likely lose their 3-seat majority of Congress, so he wants Texas Republicans to redraw the lines here and make it easier for Republicans to win 5 more seats. They want to unseat 5 Democratic incumbents here in Texas. So the members of the legislature, they're the ones who have to approve this. Democrats are outnumbered in Austin, but Democrats do have one nuclear option, and that is what they did this afternoon. They could just leave the state and say, listen, if we're not here, if 51 of us, at least 51 are not here, then the House technically cannot meet. It will not have a quorum to meet. So that's why the House members, Democratic House members, took off to Chicago. How long will they be there? They have to be there at least through August 19th if they want to end this special 30-day legislative session. And the House Democratic leader, Gene Wu, said that's what they plan to do. There's some big political news this Sunday.
So he's got the blame Trump thing going on with that guy. Here we have Charlie Downs. New Texas maps doom Jasmine Crockett's reelection. Texas Democrats fled to Illinois to break quorum and block district approval votes. J.B. Pritzker vows to protect the fleeing Democrats. Oh, so poor Jasmine Crockett. Oh, she could lose her seat. Let's see her get loomered.
Hello, Congresswoman.
Horse manure. Well, that sounds like fun.
Wait, Congresswoman Crockett.
But it sounds.
Congresswoman Crockett, you were recently on a Tesla takedown call calling for violence on the 29th.
Right?
Would you like to clarify your comments?
As you can see.
Congresswoman, will you condone violence at the Tesla?
Wow. Wow. Jasmine Crockett losing her mind and actually physically assaulting that reporter for asking a question and putting the camera in her face, asking her about her advocacy of violence that she made on a Tesla call, Tesla takedown call. Disgusting. Here we have more. This is Phoenix 2A. 50 Democrats fled to Texas. Do we have, okay, we have the, okay, let's go to Governor Pritzker.
Let me be clear. We passed a map in Illinois that follows the Constitution, and that is not what Governor Abbott is trying to do in Texas.
Have you ever seen the Illinois district map? It is so gerrymandered. Oh, it's disgusting. So this guy, oh, we followed the Constitution. No, you followed party lines, actually. You don't like it if the Republicans do it down in Texas, but, oh, you're certainly fine with doing it up in Illinois.
Let me be clear. We passed a map in Illinois that follows the Constitution, and that is not what Governor Abbott is trying to do in Texas. We believe that the people of Texas deserve to have fair representation and not to have the game changed in the middle of the decade. That's right. There already is litigation about the original map that they put in place. Now they want to change it again. That, no doubt, will end up being litigated, too. But let me be clear that they are attempting to cheat. And, you know, I think we all know Donald Trump is a cheater.
Yeah. Well, I guess if there's anybody that knows about cheating, it's J.B. Pritzker.
Right. So is the Attorney General of Texas, Ken Paxton, in so many ways. And we here in Illinois believe that we're, you know, what is 2025? We've had elections now for, you know, the 5 years that this map has been in place. We want to continue to have those fair elections. And we're proud of the fact that Democrats do better than Republicans in those districts where they're hyper-competitive, frankly. And we won in virtually every one of those districts that was competitive. Let me be clear. We passed...
Yep. Take a look. Here is the Illinois map. Thank you for bringing that up. So here is what it looks like. This is what gerrymander did. Look at that blue one. The red. The blue. Pretty disgusting, right? Here's another one. You can see more clearly where the major cities are. Chicago, Springfield, Peoria, Rockford, right? Yeah. That's what the Illinois map looks like. Here's a heat map of the 2024 Harris election results. Somehow the red parts of the state are in super minority in both chambers and hold only 3 congressional seats. Illinois legislative districts are completely gamed. Yeah, we should be the last state to lecture Texas. Look at that. That's my state. It's shameful. So let's go check in with Governor Abbott. Let's see what he has to say on this.
Today, to all said in your statement that you put out today, to all of them, in a letter to them, you said, in addition to abandoning their offices, these legislators may also have committed felonies. What is the felony? What are the penalties for this?
So very simply, it would be bribery if any lawmaker took money to perform or to refuse to perform an act in the legislature. And the reports are these legislators have been both, they sought money and they offered money to skip the vote, to leave the legislature, to take a legislative act. That would be bribery. And so the facts will have to come out. But I think based upon comments made by legislators themselves, they face a possibility of facing bribery charges, which is a second-degree felony in the state of Texas. There's one way to cure that, and that is if they get back to the state of Texas and make quorum today at a hearing that we have at 3 o'clock, they can cure themselves of any quid pro quo that would subject them to potential bribery charges.
All right.
Bribery charges. What do you know? So this battle is not done yet. We'll continue to track if these folks actually get arrested or if they show up. But if you got value from this report, tap subscribe. My final thought is next. So this is really more than redistricting, okay? It's about the complete breakdown of democratic norms when Democrats don't get their way. These legislators swore an oath to serve Texas, not run to Illinois to hang out with J.B. Pritzker at an all-you-can-eat buffet when votes don't go their way. While they hide out in Chicago hotels and 5 flood relief bills affecting millions of Texans are frozen. Real people are suffering because 50 politicians decided their political games matter more than constituents' lives. And Governor Pritzker is harboring these fugitives while accusing Trump of election interference. That's peak hypocrisy. The same Democrats who called January 6th an attack on democracy are literally fleeing their state to prevent a legal vote. I mean, who's a threat to democracy? So here's my question. Should fleeing legislators automatically lose their seats or just be arrested and thrown in the clink? Let me know in the comments. Let's continue the conversation because this precedent can't stand. And remember, you can grab some American badass gear from our shop. The link is in the description where you can trigger a liberal today at shop.nextnewsnetwork.com. Okay, do we have any more super chats? We're at $69, I'll call it $70. We're $30 away from hitting our target. We are well on our way to the target of $100 tonight. Thank you, guys. No new super chats, but you guys are saying move your meat, lose your seat, lose seats pronto. I think they should have read the arrest and lose their seats. Yeah. They're not worried about carbon footprints now, are they? Exactly. Void their votes and seats. Lose their seats. The app is bugging. Be right back. Hello, my love. Blessed mess. I live close to Chicago. Yesterday, 4 military helicopters flew over my house. Wonder what was going on. Democracy is about telling the truth and not rigging presidential elections. Hillary Rodham Clinton. Guilty rotten Grifton. Libs losing their minds in Chicago now. All right, let's see what we got going on in our next trivia answer is, you guys said the Boston Balcony Boys.
How dare you?
It was actually A. Illinois Whigs, including Lincoln, jumped from windows to break quorum. Looks like the Democrats learned from the best up in Illinois. What do you know? Jumping from windows. Don't try that at home, kids. All right. We're going to go to our next topic here. And, speaking of Governor Pritzker, we got more on that guy. Get ready to have your mind blown what they're going to do. And it's going to be hopefully not coming to a town near you. But this was brought to my attention last night, in fact, as... Pardon me, I got like an eyelash that just wants to just flick my glass lens for like a million times. This was brought to my attention last night, Angie was looking at her phone and she saw this article, and she got really emotional. You know, we live in Illinois, and, you know, we have young kids. So, and we have a lot of friends who have kids in public school. And we just got a super chat. We're at $89.96. Call it $90 from John Ferris. Thank you, John. Appreciate you. So I did a little digging, and I said, honey, we're going to tackle this. We're going to tackle it on the show. We're going to raise awareness for this. We're going to push back, because that's what we do. Our trivia question, which 1960s government program secretly tested mind control techniques on unwitting citizens? Was it A, MK Ultra, B, Operation Tater Tot, C, Project Blue Cheese, or D, the Nixon Nap Initiative? We're going to find out after this segment. Okay. 2 states just drew battle lines for every classroom in America. Oklahoma's leading the resistance, requiring blue state teachers to prove they understand American values before teaching kids. And that's what we need. If we're stuck with public education, at least make it America first. But Illinois just launched something that should terrify every parent nationwide. Mandatory mental health screenings for every kid, 3rd grade through high school. Data mined by Merrick Garland's family business. Now, this isn't just Illinois' problem. This is their pilot program for your state next. Now, one state's building a firewall against woke indoctrination. The other's building psychological profiles on 8-year-olds. What starts in Illinois never stays in Illinois. So keep watching. Now, if you're getting close to retirement or just thinking ahead, you've probably done a solid job of saving. But here's something most people don't consider. How much of that money is sitting in cash? It might feel safe, but holding too much cash guarantees only one thing: you're losing purchasing power. Inflation eats away at it, and the dollar's value keeps slipping. But that's why more people are looking at real assets like physical gold and silver to protect their savings. Noble Gold Investments makes it easy. Visit nextnewsgold.com. When you own real assets, you have real wealth. The number on the screen, 877-646-5347. Give him a call. Tell him Gary said hello, and just say, hi to Colin for me. Okay, so this is the local news, CBS local news. Just came out. Governor Pritzker, we got to screen the kids. This is mental health surveillance. Watch. Governor Pritzker proudly declare every child in grades 3 through 12 will be subject to annual mental health screening starting in 2027. He says we all need a little help.
8 is... Illinois public schools will soon be required to give students annual mental health screenings under a new law just signed by Governor J.B. Pritzker.
We all struggle at some time or another in our lives, maybe multiple times in our lives, and just need a little bit of help, and especially our children. So we've got to overcome the stigma. We've got to make sure that we're screening kids.
The bill requires all school districts to provide screening in grades 3 through 12, starting with the 2027 school year. The Illinois School Board must create guidelines for the screening, and the state is picking up the cost.
Oh, that means you're picking up the cost. Now, let's get into the details here. Yes, mental health screenings mandated. Yeah, this guy should not be talking about anybody's health. Now, let me give you the breakdown. Pritzker's new bill, his new law, just crossed the line. And here's what I need you to do. I need you to spread this far and wide. Not just if you live in the state of Illinois, but also so this doesn't spread anywhere else. Okay, we got our work cut out for us here in Illinois to get this law repealed. That's the end game. But let me tell you what's at stake. Starting in 2027, Illinois public schools will be forced to conduct annual mental health screenings on your kids from 3rd through 12th grade, whether you like it or not. This is COVID tyranny 2.0, just repackaged in a clipboard and a psych eval. Remember how they masked your kids, shut down schools, tracked your movements, and silenced dissent in the name of public health? Well, now they want access to your kid's mind. They say it's to help. But what it really does is empower the state to medically profile your children every single year. This is medical tyranny in disguise. While they say there's an opt-out, no one is talking about what list your child gets placed on if you don't comply, or how refusing could lead to backdoor mandates. like needing to show private screenings just to stay off the state's radar. So ask yourself, what happens when a state-funded screener flags your child for treatment? Who decides what is normal? What happens when a parent disagrees with a diagnosis? Will CPS come knocking? This is not about reading or writing or arithmetic. It's about handing government agents a psychological file on your kid before they even hit puberty. Pritzker wants to turn public schools into surveillance hubs for mental health enforcement, linking kids to the Beacon portal and partnering with psychiatric hospitals. This is not support. It is state control under the mask of compassion. They're not just coming for your kids' bodies anymore. They want their minds. Parents must fight this, demand a full repeal of SB 1560, Leave Our Kids Alone. And here we have this, more. We've got to screen the kids. Pritzker's mental health surveillance begins. Watch. Governor Pritzker proudly... Oh, wait, did I just play this one? Yes, I just played that one. There's another clip here. Let me find that. We have... okay, yes. We see your kids as a whole people. We see your kids as a whole people? What the hell does that even mean? At the SB 1560 signing, Illinois Superintendent Dr. Tony Sanders celebrated state-run mental health screenings by saying this is just like vision and dental checks. But this time, it's your child's mind under the microscope. Remember when you had to go to the nurse and you had to do the hearing test and the vision test? Okay, that's one thing. But what kind of questions are these kids going to be asked? Do you feel safe at home? Does someone own a gun at home? Do your parents fight? You see, like, these things happen in every single household. But what's going to happen when a naive child feels that they're being intimidated or they have to answer every single question? Where are the parents? Where are the lawyers protecting these kids' rights when they're being interrogated? They don't even realize they're being interrogated. Standing there in a sanitized room, asking questions. What answers will they give? What notes will be taken? Who's there to protect that child? And then in that moment of intimidation and fear, when a person of authority comes and sits next to them and asks them personal questions. At the SB 1560 signing, Illinois Superintendent Dr. Tony Sanders celebrated state-run mental health screenings by saying this is just like vision and dental checks, but this time it's your child's mind under the microscope. He praised it as a best practice from national psych organizations, ignoring the glaring ethical red flags of mass behavioral profiling. He admitted that word, drugs and mental breakdowns are rising, but instead of fixing root causes, they want to label and track your kids early before they even ask for help. And then what medications are they going to be put on? Who's going to be the one to fill out the prescription? Now they have to have follow-up care, blood tests. Who's going to profit from this? The most chilling part, he said the goal is to treat students not just as learners, but as a whole people. That states speak for full-spectrum surveillance from grades to emotions, thoughts to trauma. Framed as help, it's really early state intervention into family life. Screening equals data collection equals permanent psychological record. Your child's mental history could follow them into college, employment, and beyond. Prevention sounds noble until it's weaponized for control. This is not support, it is conditioning. Watch him say it out loud.
Making Illinois. Good afternoon. First of all, I want to thank Principal Riemann Schneider. Is she here in the room? And can we stand up and have her be recognized? Principal? Oh, right over here. If you talk to any principal, they will tell you this is one of the top issues that their students come to school with every single day. If they have student advisors, they will know that students across the state and across this nation are making mental health their top priority. And I want to thank Governor Pritzker and our Illinois General Assembly for also making Illinois a national leader in prioritizing our students' mental health. Today we affirm...
I mean, the reason this is a problem is because they have made it like Every single thing is a microaggression, triggering kids and pronouns and bathrooms, and they don't even know what to do. So, yeah, they're walking into these indoctrination centers, and they're totally confused and scared and terrified about what they can and cannot say. They got furries in the corner with litter boxes. They got kids with purple hair. Then they think they're up something else.
From what our students, families, and teachers have long known to be true, that mental health is an essential part of a student's academic readiness and lifelong success. Universal mental health screenings are the best practice recommended by the National Association of School Psychologists and the National Center for School Mental Health. With the signing of Senate Bill 1560, Illinois is now the state that follows these national recommendations. Is that amazing? Not only are we sharing a best practice, we're sending a clear message that we see our students not just as learners, but as whole people. I want to share some sobering data with you. Between 2018 and 2022, mental health and substance use disorders caused almost half of hospitalizations among youth ages 3 to 17. Hospitalization and emergency visit rates for such disorders were highest among students ages 15 to 17, and they especially hit girls.
Yeah, you know why they hit girls? Because Mark Zuckerberg is manipulating the algorithm on Instagram and making all these young girls who are just coming into womanhood feeling ashamed that they don't look the way that all these women are on Instagram. I mean, there was a whole freaking congressional committee and a hearing. Zuckerberg had to stand up and he had to turn around. He had to apologize to all these parents whose children did horrible things and were completely victimized by the algorithm that Zuckerberg was controlling just to increase engagement on the platform. So, yeah, it's not just what's happening in the schools, it's also what's happening on social media.
Black youth and youth residing in rural counties. Suicide remains the third leading cause of death among Illinois youth ages 10 to 19. Too often, we recognize a student's distress when it becomes a crisis, when they begin failing classes, when they begin withdrawing from peers or experiencing harm. Too often, we only recognize a student's distress when it's too late. With universal screening, we shift from reaction to prevention. As the governor said, like vision screening, hearing screening, and dental screening, mental health screenings will help us provide timely and appropriate interventions.
Okay, I'm done with this guy. I am done. Okay, I want to jump to, before we get to what's going on in Oklahoma, I want to bring in Awake Illinois. This is one of the premier groups in Illinois fighting these things. Now, Shannon Adcock, who I've worked with in the past in some local Illinois issues when the woke mobs came for businesses in Illinois that were run by conservatives, tried to run them out of business. Shannon worked tirelessly to help those businesses along with us. That's another story. You can go back into our archives. You can review that. But here she is giving a brief overview of the topic and how intentional parents can stand in the gap of government overreach. Okay, this is in Carpentersville, Illinois. But I do want to point out, before I play that, they have created this mental health screening opt-out form. Schools are already doing these screenings. However, in 2027, schools will be offering them for free. Parents have the right to opt out. Most schools don't do opt-in. Okay, so it's not like, oh, I want to be a part of it. No, you're already in it until you say you're not. Oh, by the way, this is the Representative LaPointe. This is the Leading the Way. This is Illinois Leading the Way in student mental health. State Representative Lindsay LaPointe, State Senator Sarah Feinholz have championed SB 1560, mandating annual mental health screenings. So here's no child should have to struggle in silence. Oh, it sounds so nice, and we're gonna. It's for the children. It's for the children.
You said people are gonna die?
That's what they said. I mean, more or less, Jar Jar, you know. But okay, there's JB. They just cleared his buffet plate there so that he could make way for this bill signing. But I want to get to, okay, we played that, Tony Sanders, okay, but I want to, where's the, I know I had the, did I have the, I know I had the opt-out form somewhere here. Oh, here it is, yes. This is the opt-out form. Okay. You can find it if you're in Illinois at awakeil.com/forms. Okay? Very comprehensive to assist you in opting out of this medical tyranny. Hats off to Awake Illinois. Okay, let's go back to, I want to see Shannon give her presentation here. It's about 7 minutes, or actually 12 minutes. I'm not going to play the whole thing. We'll just give you a taste of it, and I'll repost it so you can go to the RX account and you can watch it.
Internet. Oh my, I am short. Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for creating this awesome event for all of us, Networking the Networks, Illinois Family Institute. All of you guys are awesome. So Shannon Adcock, founder of Awake Illinois. My husband, John, and I have been married for 22 years this month. And thank you. And we have 3 children ranging in age from 10 to 17. So I'm a big fan of Deborah in the Bible. She was an unorthodox leader in her time, a female warrior. And she is called or known as being a bee at peace, a buzzing bee, and a wasp at war. And that resonates with me because in 2020, I ran to the barricade to defend children. And I went from being a bee at peace to a wasp at war. And I've been wasping ever since, right, David? So 4 years ago, I went to the internet machine and said how to start a nonprofit. It was 2 days after I lost my school board race because I'm a racist and a bigot and all the things, right? And I was like, ooh, it's getting real. They're trying to cancel voices like mine. So I started Awake Illinois to give people a platform to defend parental rights and to protect their liberties and their families. And my business card says, I'm a mom, not a domestic terrorist. The last administration would have said this is a congregation of domestic terrorists. So it's good to so normally I get 3 minutes to speak at school board meetings, and I'm surrounded by trans cultists and very energy. There was woke holy water. It would boil when I walk into the school board meeting. But today I have 10 minutes or 9 minutes, 8 minutes to speak with warriors of faith on a Saturday morning in this beautiful tiny church. And so this is a treat. It's good to be with all of you. All right. So it's important to be the barrier between anything that's going to indoctrinate your children, attack your liberty, and assault your parental rights. So I'm just going to go through what I think is a hopeful outlook, maybe a little scary at times, but a hopeful outlook of how we are winning, how we have truth on our side, and how we have friends. So unfortunately, apathy is the enemy. Awake Illinois, awake, not woke. We are awake to the issues. We are paying attention. We are not apathetic. A bee at peace is still active. It's still buzzing. They don't say that Deborah was a snail or a sloth at peace. She was still buzzing around. And so apathy is the enemy. So it's important to pay attention. And 1.9 million children are in public schools in Illinois. That is a lot of souls, you guys. And they deserve warriors. Unfortunately, most parents still do not know their parental rights. They don't know how to act on parental rights. So many of us here have, in our own platforms and in our own ways, empowered people to harness and protect their parental rights. Be the barrier between your child and anyone with an agenda outside your family's beliefs or worldview. All of you have talked about this. We know this, but we have to keep evangelizing it. Amen. So I often ask parents this question: what comes to mind when a teacher or a pastor or a camp counselor, anyone entrusted with your child, sees your child's name on a roster? Do they know you, the mom and the dad? Do they know that that child has advocates looking out for them? This is critical. It doesn't matter who's in the White House. It doesn't matter who's in the governor's office. It doesn't matter who's in any political office. Your children deserve defenders. Does the world know that your child has defenders? They better. So So some good wins. Mahmoud versus Taylor in June. This was a big win for parental rights. Parents have the fundamental right to direct the upbringing of their children, education, medical care, all of it. And so this was a big monumental push forward to protect parental rights, to opt out of radical curricula, books, etc. Illinois House Bill 4876. I don't know how many of you are familiar with the trans trafficking bill that we stopped here. Anybody familiar with this? Okay.
I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to repost this for you guys so you guys can watch it in full, because I want to get to the good news that's happening in the state of Oklahoma. And just make sure you follow Awake Illinois on X. Moving into what's happening in Oklahoma. Okay. The first state requiring an America First certification test for teachers moving from blue states like California and New York. They must pass exams on U.S. history, civics, the Constitution, and basic biology to align with the values of truth and responsibility.
Things like American. Did you guys hear what Oklahoma just did? They're now the first state in the country to roll out an America First certification test, and it's specifically for teachers coming from states like California and New York. Yes, if you're a teacher moving to Oklahoma from a blue state, you're going to need to pass this test before you can teach. It covers a lot of things like American history, civics, the Constitution, and yes, basic biology. The idea is simple. If you're going to teach kids in Oklahoma, you need to understand and support the values that built this country. And no, it's not about party politics. It's about truth, responsibility, and respect for this nation's foundations. Oklahoma Education Chief Ryan Walters said they're not going to let radical agendas sneak into the classroom. They're partnering with groups like PragerU to make sure teachers are well versed in what they call common sense civics. And honestly, they're saying a lot of people are applauding this, and I can see why, because it's common sense. Because if you're leaving a state where the educational system is crumbling, maybe it makes sense to check if your teaching lines up with the values of a new place you're moving to. This isn't about banning people. This is about raising the bar. But let's be real quick. Would you want your kids learning from someone who doesn't believe in the basics? Oklahoma just drew a line in the sand, and I'm so hoping that all the other states will follow. So here's the real question. Do you think this will start a trend? I sure hope so.
I hope so, too. And I also hope that the trend that's starting in Illinois doesn't spread any further. Oklahoma, the first state to require teachers from liberal-leaning states to take a test to show they align with its curriculum. The state superintendent, Ryan Walters, told Fox News Digital next week he plans to release a new certification test for teachers moving into the state from blue states. Yeah. Don't California my Texas, right? Don't Illinois my Florida. That's the rallying cry. Okay, we have this. Here's one more update. This is another local news hit from Illinois.
Now, Illinois students will soon be taking another type of test, but this one has nothing to do with their report cards or their fitness. The state of Illinois will now start screening for mental health issues. What's included and what's not? Charlie Wojciechowski on the story for us tonight, and he's here to explain. Charlie?
Well, Allison, just like physicals and vision screenings, these new mental health screenings are designed to identify problems and get students help.
Okay, so listen, this is the local news. Just like vision and dental screenings, right? You see how they just downplay it? Okay, it's not like vision and dental. All right, those you can fix with glasses, or you go to the dentist, get a filling. Okay, when you have a medical diagnosis for a mental health issue from the DSM-4, what happens? That is a label that is applied to a child. And it's not as simple as just filling a tooth or putting on a pair of glasses. In many of these cases, it's going to require psychological medications that alter the brain map of a child that is at a developing age. And once that brain has been altered by these psychotropic drugs based on a state psychiatric exam in a school, that brain is never going to be the same. So while the local news is going to sit here and tell you it's just like a dental exam, it's just like putting on a pair of glasses so little Bobby can read. No. Nah. No. This is freaking propaganda from NBC Chicago being pumped into the homes of millions of people across the state. And I'm here to set the record straight.
Well, it may seem like a simple idea. Not everyone's on board.
Yeah, that's right, buddy.
The governor's signature today at the Chute School in Evanston makes Illinois the first school in the nation to roll out universal mental health screenings to its schools.
At a time when our kids are struggling with anxiety and depression more than ever before, it's our responsibility to ensure that young people have all the support that they need to get the help that they deserve.
The new law will require public schools to offer age-appropriate screenings to identify mental health concerns in students in the 3rd through 12th grades. The process will be overseen by the Illinois State Board of Education, who will develop model procedures for districts. The screenings are designed to be confidential, and parents who don't want their kids to participate must opt out. The screenings will also connect...
Oh, and what happens to those parents that just didn't get the memo? Right? You got that busy parent. They're not paying attention to the news because they've checked out of the political environment that's so toxic in the state of Illinois. They're not paying attention to new laws that Pritzker's passing because they're inundated by the tyranny that keeps coming from Springfield. What happens to those parents? What happens to those children? They slip through the cracks, they get a diagnosis, and they have to wear this diagnosis on their head for the rest of their lives. What happens to them?
Families with the Beacon portal that helps them find psychiatric care in their communities.
What we have heard from families and from young people is that an annual check on sadness, worry, fear, and other problems would help to identify young people who need to talk.
The measure was approved earlier this year in Springfield by many Republicans, questioned whether the screenings were just another example of government overreach.
Universal mental health screenings are going to get us nothing except possibly finding reasons for denial of coverage of insurance, or running afoul of all sorts of requirements for confidentiality.
Oh, come on. Who was that? Steve Reich, Republican of McHenry? Come on, you could be a little harder, buddy. You could go a little harder. Denial of insurance? Really? Is that the scariest thing here? Please. That's the problem with the Illinois GOP.
For denial of coverage of insurance, or running afoul of all sorts of requirements for confidentiality.
I probably was at the same party with him, with Governor Huckabee Sanders. Oh man. Anyway, you could tell I'm not too pleased with this whole thing. Okay, here's one more point. One of the top tools used for mental health screenings, Panorama Surveys, a data mining for-profit company owned by son-in-law of Biden's Attorney General Merrick Garland. Merrick Garland, if you recall, called parents domestic terrorists for speaking up at school board meetings. Yeah. So he is directly involved with this. The fight is not over. It is only just beginning. So make sure you are following the Next News Network. You are following Awake Illinois on X so that we can continue this fight. If you got value from this report, tap subscribe. My final thought is right now. So this is the front line of America's culture war, and your kids are the battlefield. Oklahoma gets it. They're not letting California's failed ideology poison another generation. Basic requirements: know the Constitution, understand civics, accept biological reality. That's not extreme, that's American. But Illinois is implementing the largest child surveillance program in history. Annual mental health screenings run by a company connected to the Attorney General who's targeted parents at school boards. They call it healthcare. But it's data harvesting on children's minds. The scariest part, it's opt-out, not opt-in. They're counting on parents being too busy or confused to protect their own kids. One state is defending truth. The other is mining your thoughts of your children. So here's the question. Should mental health screenings in schools require written parental consent? Yes or no? Drop your answer below. And you can support the fight. You can check out our merch shop. Link in the description where you can trigger a liberal today. Wow, I didn't think that was going to go that long, but it certainly did. Okay, so we have a super chat from Canada here. Our friend up there, Denise the Painter. $5 Canadian from the Great White North. Thank you. Tom B420 dropping 10. Thanks, Gary and team. N3 Army for life. Yes, sir. Tom B420, we're now past our goal, $104.07 tonight. Wow, thank you guys so much. Now to our answer for our trivia question. MK Ultra, you were right. MK Ultra secretly tested mind control on citizens in Illinois and just made it official policy for kids. All right, moving right along. Our next topic is the economic earthquake that is now approaching. But first, a trivia question. Which president used tariffs to pay off the entire national debt in 1835? Damn. Was it A, Andrew Jackson, B, Grover the Groovy Cleveland, C, William Big Bill Taft, or D, President Monopoly Man? All right, we're going to find out what you guys think. And the answer is, after this, Trump's tariff tsunami, crushing fake data. They cooked the books, they faked the numbers, and thought nobody would notice. 818,000 phantom jobs. That's how badly Biden's team lied about the economy. But Trump just fired their corrupt statistics commissioner, and the real recovery begins right now. While Democrats scream about imaginary billionaire tax cuts, Trump's unleashing an economic weapon they never saw coming. Reciprocal tariffs bringing in $100 billion annually. Europe's already folding, opening their markets to American products. We're paying down debt, reshoring manufacturing, bringing back jobs that actually exist. The establishment's economic house of cards is collapsing, and Trump's building something real on the ashes. This is not just policy, it's payback. And the numbers don't lie anymore. So watch this. As Trump rebuilds America's economic foundation, Americans are rebuilding their personal vitality, too. As we age, our body's collagen production declines, leading to visible signs like wrinkles and sagging skin. By our 40s, collagen levels have significantly decreased, dropping another 1% yearly, and that's why I've relied on ageless multi-collagen for years. I'm obsessed with the results. It includes 5 key types of collagen from 4 premium sources, perfectly blended into hydrolyzed peptides for your body to absorb faster and easier. No clumping, odor, or unpleasant taste, plus every order donates a nutritious meal to hungry children through nokidhungry.org. Get 51% off at healthwithgary.com with free shipping, a 60-day money-back guarantee, lifetime VIP coaching, and the exclusive ebook, The 14 Foods for Amazing Skin. Order today at healthwithgary.com. You'll find it linked in the description. Now let's go to President Trump on the tarmac, talking about the former Biden-appointed statistics commissioner who he just fired.
We had a very good weekend in many respects. We're seeing phenomenal numbers in terms of the business we do with other countries and the business we do within our own country. I mean, really phenomenal numbers. We'll be announcing a new statistician sometime over the next 3 or 4 days. We had no confidence. I mean, the numbers were ridiculous, what she announced, but that was just one negative number. All of the numbers seem to be great, and so we'll see how that comes out. And if you remember, just before the election, this woman came out with these phenomenal numbers on Biden's economy. Phenomenal numbers. And then right after the election, they announced that those numbers were wrong. And that's what they did the other day. So it's a scam, in my opinion. My opinion is it's just additional scam. We had a very
scam after scam after scam. President Trump calling it like it is. moving into his fairness with respect to how American goods are treated worldwide.
Because I'm not looking for leverage. I'm looking for fairness. We want reciprocal as much as possible. Sometimes reciprocal would be too much for them to handle because it would be a much bigger number. But we want to see some reciprocity. We want to see reciprocal wherever we can. And all I can say is this: our country will be taking in hundreds of billions of dollars. You just said it. Already we're taking in, billions and billions of dollars. And it was very unfair. The world treated us very unfair. Yeah,
not anymore, though, because there's a new sheriff in town. Here's more President Trump on the tarmac in front of Marine One.
We're going to pay down debt. We have a lot of money coming in, much more money than the country's ever seen, by hundreds of billions of dollars. And there could be a distribution or a dividend to the people of our country. I would say for people that would be middle-income people and lower-income people, we could do a dividend. But one of the things we're going to be doing is reducing debt. But we have hundreds of billions of dollars pouring into our country now. We should have done this many years ago. And I did it in my first term with China. We didn't get to the rest because COVID hit. And you couldn't really go to France and Spain and Italy and say, let's start talking about some tariffs. But China was paying us hundreds of billions of dollars in tariffs, and we did it then. And then Biden screwed it all up. He screwed everything he touched. He screwed up. Well, we're going to pay down.
Yeah, President Biden actually didn't touch anything, Mr. President. It was President Otto Penn. Here is Hakeem Jeffries still lying about the one big beautiful bill, claiming it's a tax cut for billionaires that steals food from the mouths of children.
Everyday America. Their one big ugly bill, which is now law, is deeply unpopular. It rips away health care from millions of Americans, steals food from the mouths of children. All of this is being done in terms of hurting everyday Americans so they can reward their billionaire donors.
You said people gonna die?
That's what he said, Jar Jar. That's what he said. That's what they say to everybody, Jar Jar. They want to scare everybody. That's what Hakeem likes to do. Let's check in with Victor Davis Hanson, one of my favorite commentators.
And I'm just counting some. They're talking about $300 billion to $340 billion in revenue by the end of the year from tariffs. I don't know if that's accurate or not, but that's what people have suggested. And I'm discounting some of the wilder people who said $700 billion. In addition, we pay $3 billion a day in interest. Larger at the end of the year than the defense budget. We're paying $1.1 trillion in interest. If Donald Trump could get him to lower it by a point or a point and a half, you could see $200 to $300 billion saved from the Treasury without having to pay out that interest. Bottom line, he gets $700 billion cut from the deficit. The deficit is roughly $2 billion, so he can say, in my first year, this has never happened before. In the first year, I rebooted the economy. I cut taxes, and I lowered the deficit by 33% in a single year. That's what I did. And that would be an amazing achievement going into the midterm. If you don't like Donald Trump and you don't want him to succeed, then you won't budge on the interest rates, and you will tell everybody that the figures are rigged, and you'll talk about something else like the Epstein letter, and that's where we are.
Yeah, you see, that's what's going to end up happening. President Trump's going to go out there, he's going to tout all these victories, and they're going to just gaslight you into thinking it never happened. Let's check in with Kevin Hassett, the director of the White House National Economic Council, talking about that downward revision President Trump spoke about on the tarmac just a moment ago.
People to know is that there was a 818,000 revision, making the Joe Biden job record a lot worse, that came out after he withdrew from the presidential campaign. There have been a bunch of patterns that could make people wonder, and I think the most important thing for people to know is that it's the president's highest priority that the data be trusted and that people get to the bottom of why these revisions are so unreliable. There was a
it's unreliable because, they're politically motivated when Joe Biden's staffers change the numbers. Here he is talking about the trade deals that are on the table.
We have 8 deals that cover about 55% of world GDP with our biggest trading partners, the EU and Japan and Korea and so on. And I expect that those matters are more or less locked in, although there'll have to be some dancing around the edges about exactly what we mean when we do this or that. For the deals that aren't ready yet, they're going to get the reciprocal rates soon, and then we would expect that there might continue to be negotiations with those countries.
More negotiations underway. Here he's talking about Europe. This was the big story last week. We're finding out more now.
Deals. Think about it. The president likes those deals. The Europeans like those deals. And they're absolutely historically wonderful deals. Think about it. We've got Europe agreeing to open their markets to our products so our farmers, our small businessmen can sell stuff in Europe like they never could before. And they're letting us charge a 50% tariff, which is going to raise maybe about $100 billion a year. The president likes those deals.
There you go, man. That's the art of the deal on the global stage. Here we have more from Kevin Hassett on Fox News Sunday, talking about when the data is unreliable.
Look back to just the fact is that when the data are unreliable, when they keep being revised all over the place, then there are going to be people that wonder if there's a partisan pattern in the data. And so if you look back to just a year ago, for example, there was another massive revision from the BLS, almost 1 million jobs down, that said that the Joe Biden jobs record was a lot worse than people thought. But we didn't get the downward revision until after Joe Biden had dropped out. And so once again, it made people think, what are they doing? I got to tell you that if I were running the BLS, I don't aspire to. If I were running the BLS and I had the biggest downward revision in 50 years, I would have a really, really detailed report explaining why it happened so that everybody really trusted the data. We had this move, that move, that move. We had a bunch of people get their responses in late or something like that. But instead, they have this little black box that moves the numbers around and makes people wonder, sometimes with partisan patterns. And so I think what we need is a fresh set of eyes at the BLS, somebody who can clean this thing up. And again, going back to 2015, when I was the keynoter along with Alan Greenspan, on how to modernize this place, I worried about how the changing economy, the modern economy, was going to move faster than their ability to measure, and urged Congress to give them a lot more money so that they could make these numbers better. And I think now I'm being kind of proven true that it's really the numbers are not keeping up with the economy. The fact is that
moving right along, let's listen in here to, here's U.S. Trade Rep on CBS, Deface the Nation, as Donald Trump refers to it.
When most countries in the world, they just have a tariff assigned to them, right? Whether it's
it'll be the 10% or 15%.
10 or 15 or the higher level tariff. Because again, when the president is looking at this, he looks at potential deals, and we bring him potential concessions from countries and the things they might want to do. And he compares that to the potential tariff that might be applied to try to get that deficit down. And then talking to his advisors, he makes a call on this. And, sometimes a country will come back and make additional concessions that make it more appropriate. He's trying to get at the deficit. He's trying to reshore manufacturing. Most countries in the world, they just have a tariff.
Here he has more on the trade talks with China, focusing on rare earth magnets and minerals.
Did you get any commitments in those 2 days of talks in Stockholm?
So yes, we did. Yes, we talked about, and I won't go into detail because they're confidential conversations between two governments, but they really focused on rare earth magnets and minerals. China has put a global control on the world, and so for the United States, we're focused on making sure that the flow of magnets from China to the United States and the adjacent supply chain can flow as freely as it did before the control. And I'd say we're about halfway there.
Did you get any?
That's a really attractive discussion. Get it? Magnets? Attractive?
How dare you?
Sorry, Greta. I'm just trying to make a joke. Okay. All right. Let's see what else we got here. Okay, so check this out. Rapid response. This is 24 hours ago. Tariff revenue rose in July. Monthly government revenue from customs duties and certain excise taxes. Look at that. Oh, my. Isn't that beautiful? Look at that big, huge stick. President Trump walking with a big stick. $29.6 billion in just July. Okay, look at the numbers down there. 21, 22, 23, 24. I mean, just Joe Biden. That's that line right there, that basic flat line is Joe Biden sleeping in the Oval Office. So, if you got value from this report, tap subscribe. My final thought is next. So this is economic warfare at its finest. And Trump just went nuclear. 800,000 fake jobs, and that's not a mistake. That's called fraud. They released the correction after Biden was gone, thinking we'd forget, but Trump doesn't forget. He's cleaning house at the Statistics Bureau and implementing tariffs that actually work. $100 billion in revenue while protecting American workers. That is what real leadership looks like. Democrats claim that the tax relief bill steals from children.
You said people gonna die?
Yes, that's what they said, Jar Jar. They believe it's going to steal from children, while they literally flee states to block flood relief. The hypocrisy is staggering. We're reshoring manufacturing, opening European markets, and controlling our own economic destiny again. No more shipping jobs overseas while bureaucrats cook the books. So here's the question. Should government officials who falsify economic data, should they face criminal charges? Yes or no? Let's continue that conversation in the comments below, and you can show your American pride by hitting our merch shop. Links in the description where you can trigger a liberal today. Okay, no more super chats to speak of. But checking in, yes, Sabrina says yes. I can see Crockett getting pulled over and refusing to roll the window down or get out. Adam says yes. Bad daddy, big smile. We love you, Gary and company, Karen. We love you too. Yes, arrest them all, says Jose. He also says, no mas, no mas. Nobody is above the law, said the Democrats. Yes, Blasphemous, you are right. Michael, yeah, that was Greta. She's angry. So angry. Ron the Don says, yes, yes. Send the marshals. Yes, yes, yes. Two-tier justice system. Democrats live in their own little world. Yeah. Okay, let's find out the answer to that question. You guys said that it was Andrew Jackson. You were correct. Andrew Jackson used tariffs to completely eliminate the national debt, and Trump's following the blueprint. All right, moving into our next segment of the evening. The week the left lost the plot. But first, a trivia question. What did Democrats blame for losing to Reagan after his 49-state landslide in 1984? Was it A, not enough cowbell, B, solar flares, C, Russian mind rays, or D, everything but themselves? I think I know the answer to this one. Let's see what you guys say in the chat comment or in the poll. All right. Moving into our final topic of the evening. Don't go anywhere because we do have to break it all down for you. Okay. Chuck Schumer's having a meltdown over a ballroom, and it tells you everything about this week. While he screamed about wasted taxpayer money, the truth emerged. Trump and private donors are actually paying every penny, but that lie was just the appetizer. This is the week that the dam broke. CNN admitting Trump's the most influential president of the century. Judge Jeanine coming back to prosecute the swamp. The EPA actually cleaning the environment instead of virtue signaling. Nuclear subs deploying while we feed the hungry. Foster youth getting real help, not hashtags. Even their own media can't keep lying. The left didn't just lose the narrative, they lost their minds. Every attack backfired, every lie exposed, every victory undeniable, and Chuck Schumer looks great in a princess dress. Now let's get into it. If you're just getting close to retirement or just thinking ahead, you've probably done a solid job of saving, but here's something that most people don't consider. How much of that money is just sitting in cash? You might feel safe, but holding too much cash guarantees only one thing, that you're losing purchasing power. Inflation eats away at it, keeping the dollar's value and the dollar's value slipping. That's why most people are looking for real assets like physical gold and silver to protect their savings. Noble Gold Investments makes it easy. Visit nextnewsgold.com, and when you own real assets, you own real wealth. The number's on the screen, 877-646-5347. Give a call. Tell them Gary Franchi sent you. Okay, so Chuck Schumer. Oh, sweet Chuck Schumer. Crying. One of the things he's greatest at, I should say. Here he is, calling the $200 million White House ballroom wasteful. Meanwhile, Caroline Leavitt setting the record straight.
September. Here's even something more confounding. Some breaking news. Just now, the White House announced construction of a $200 million White House ballroom that will begin in September. A $200 million ballroom. Where'd this money come from? Did Congress appropriate it? I don't think so. It's almost like Doge was never about waste at all.
President Trump and other donors have generously committed to donating the funds necessary to build this approximately $200 million structure.
There you go, Chuck. You just got schooled.
Even something more.
You just got schooled. But, why isn't Chuck talking about that $3.1 billion renovation over at the Federal Reserve? He's not complaining about that, is he? He's not holding Powell's feet to the flames. No, he's not. Okay, but he wants to complain about Donald Trump wasting taxpayer money, but Caroline Leavitt clearly says, no. It's donors who are paying for it. More gaslighting and lies from Chuck Schumer. Oh, but he wasn't done. Chuck Schumer blatantly lies, saying Doge cuts are being used to pay for the $200 million White House ballroom. In reality, President Trump and private donors are paying for the ballroom. All Schumer does is lie, just like he does when he pretends to be having a Memorial Day cookout.
His new plane. It keeps getting worse. Today, Donald Trump and the White House announced they're going to spend $200 million to build a large, fancy White House ballroom. This is what Doge was all about, folks. Cutting things, taking things away from you, and not giving it to some place that needed it. Giving it to the big shots who run the show, Donald Trump at the top of the list. Maybe he can park his new plane in the big ballroom. It's probably big enough.
Yeah, you know what, though? Donald Trump's balls are bigger than yours, and you're just jealous, Chuck. Yes. You're just jealous because Trump has big friggin' balls. Speaking of balls, Sydney Sweeney's American Eagle campaign is receiving criticism for genes, a gene pun that some say echoes eugenics and white supremacy. Yeah, that drama is ongoing. Nothing new under the sun. Here we have more on there's apparently a tariff lawsuit. The president must follow the law and the Constitution, calling Trump's tariffs unlawful.
Power. We have this important thing called the Constitution, and the Constitution says that only Congress can do tariffs. Congress has given the president some powers, but there's sideboards to that powers. And so the president right now is abusing an emergency power to try and implement tariffs in a way that no other president has done. I do agree with you, right? Tariffs can be helpful. You should give some deference to the president, but the president's just like you and me. You got to follow the laws. You got to follow the Constitution. All of us learned that in grade school. We have this.
Yeah. Apparently you didn't listen to the economics behind it. BLS commissioners aren't briefed on jobs numbers until 2 days before release. Virtually no chance to manipulate data unless Trump appointee changes the rules, they're saying. Dan Coe, founder of Reverate Media, former White House, City of Boston, Huffington Post. That's all you need to know.
Like the final score. Dan, you worked at that agency. 1 to 10, 10 being basically worst case scenario. Where do you put this? This is about a 9.5 trending to a 10. Look, this is like firing the referee because you don't like the final score of a game. If you look at the typical timeline of how this works, the BLS commissioner isn't even presented with the data until the Wednesday before the announcement. By the way, the president claimed that he first saw the jobs data this morning. That's almost certainly a lie. Typically, the president and his senior team are briefed the day before the jobs numbers come out. Dan, you worked at that agency.
Oh, yes. Trump's a liar. Trump's a liar. Trump's a liar. That's all they say. But what does Trump talk about here about talking about Gaza?
Fed.
Had more of an update to give us on Gaza, on the Gaza Strip. Can you give us any?
Only we want the people fed. And we're the only country that's really doing that. We're putting up money to get the people fed. And Steve Witkoff is doing a great job. And we want Israel to get them fed. We're giving some pretty big contributions basically to purchase food so the people can be fed. We don't want people going hungry, and we don't want people to starve. And there's some bad things happening.
I'm sure they're going to criticize him for that. Here we have President Trump talking about the about Russia.
What Steve Witkoff's message will be to the Russians is there anything they can do to avoid sanctions at this point?
Yeah, get a deal where people stop getting killed. They had a number that just came out that a tremendous number of Russian soldiers are being killed. And likewise, Ukraine, a lower number, but still thousands and thousands of people. And now we're adding towns where they're being hit by missiles. So it's a lot of people being killed in that ridiculous war. And, you know, we stopped a lot of countries from war, India and Pakistan. We stopped a lot of countries. And we're going to get that one stopped, too. Somehow we're going to get that one stopped. That's a really horrible war. You heard about Cambodia and Thailand. We got that one done. We got the Congo, which was going on for 31 years. Rwanda. That one's done. We stopped a lot of wars. This is the one we seem to be, this should be the easiest to stop, and it's not. I mean, Rwanda and Congo were going on 31 years and I got it stopped. 8 million people dead, at least. That's what they have, but I think the number is much higher. And the leaders of each country, Rwanda and the Congo, they were great. They were great, and they wanted it stopped. 31 years it went on. We stopped a lot of wars. Serbia, Kosovo was going to be happening, and I don't believe it will now, so we stopped.
President Trump stopping wars all over the world. We got to get that war stopped over there in Russia, Ukraine. Here he is talking about those nuclear subs that have been deployed.
Russia. On Russia, Mr. President, can you say, have those nuclear submarines been deployed yet to face Russia?
I've already put out a statement, and the answer is they are in the region, yeah, where they have to be.
On Russia, Mr. President.
Nuclear subs in the region. Here we have Trump's EPA racking up win after win, advancing clean air, land, and water for all Americans. Lee Zeldin on State of the Union on CNN. Not the safest of places for a member of the Trump administration.
Proud of over the course of my first 6 months on this job, the announcement that I enjoyed putting out the most was on the 100th day of President Trump's term in office. We released 100 environmental accomplishments that we did in those first 100 days. We're very proud of our historic wildfire cleanup in Los Angeles. We increased water quality standards in southeast Pennsylvania and into Delaware along the Delaware River Basin. Just last week, I was in Mexico City announcing an international agreement with Mexico to advance a permanent 100% solution to resolve the Tijuana River raw sewage crisis that's been plaguing millions of Southern California residents for decades. And that is a pace that motivates us to keep up. We are very proud of all of the accomplishments. As you pointed out, I'm currently traveling around New England, visiting Superfund sites that are getting cleaned up. And EPA, over the course of years and decades, has been doing an amazing job as it relates to the Superfund cleanup and the brownfield cleanup. We're advancing cooperative federalism and getting state implementation plans done. We're getting through our backlog we inherited in pesticide review and new chemical review. There are amazing, dedicated employees at this agency all across this entire country doing important work, and we're very proud of that work, and we're going to continue to keep that pace up.
Keep up the pace. If you got value from this report, tap subscribe. My final thought is next. So, this week proved something beautiful. The truth is undefeated. Schumer lied about the ballroom, caught red-handed. Trump's feeding Gaza while telling Russia to stop killing people. Actual leadership, not tweets. Lee Zeldin's EPA delivered real environmental wins without the Green New Deal nonsense. Judge Pirro is coming back to deliver justice. CNN even had to admit that Trump's reshaping the century. The left threw everything at the wall: Russia hoax, revelations, fleeing legislators, mind control programs, fake economic data, and constant lies. Nothing stuck. Instead, each failure exposed them even more. They're not losing because of Russian bots or solar flares or not enough cowbell. They're actually losing because Americans see through their games. So here's the question. Is this the beginning of the end for the Democrat Party as we know it? Drop a yes or a no. Hit the comments and celebrate this winning that we're kicking off this week. by grabbing some gear at shop.nextnewsnetwork.com. All right, what was the answer to that question? We're going to find out in a moment, but you guys are all saying kids belong to the community. Kamala, you remember that? Great show as always, Gary. Thank you, Patricia. I pray to God the Democrats never have power. They'll never give up power and change us to the point of no return. They are pure evil. Yes, Karen. Trump has more work than all presidents has done more. Yes, he has. I hope so. Yes. Shop.nextnewsnetwork.com. That is the link, Jeremy. Thank you for sharing. Okay, let's find out the answer to that question. You guys said everything but themselves. You were correct. 40 years later, they still haven't learned that lesson. All right, Patriots, what a week it's been on the Raw feed. We started with the smoking gun. Yes, we're kicking it off strong. Emails proving that Hillary Clinton and Soros orchestrated the Russia hoax as a deliberate coup against Trump. Not theories, not speculation, documented conspiracy with names and dates. Stephen Miller called it what it was, treason. And the Pulitzer Committee still refusing to revoke awards given for lies. Then we tracked the Texas Democrat exodus, 50 legislators fleeing to Chicago while their constituents face deadly floods. Governor Abbott's ready with felony charges while these cowards sip lattes with Pritzker. 5 emergency bills frozen because Democrats treat democracy like a game they can quit when losing. And the battle for our children's mind reached critical mass. Oklahoma is requiring America First certification for blue state teachers. Know the Constitution or find another job. But Illinois, mandatory mental health screenings for every kid run by Merrick Garland's family business. They're not checking for problems, they're building profiles. It starts in Illinois, spreads everywhere. So parents, you have been warned. And Trump's economic earthquake is reshaking everything. 800,000 fake jobs exposed, corrupt statisticians fired, and reciprocal tariffs bringing in billions while Democrats lie about stealing from children.
You said people gonna die?
I know. That's what they say, Jar Jar. Trump's actually paying down debt and bringing manufacturing home. Real jobs, real revenue, real results. And then, of course, what broke the left's back? Schumer caught lying about the ballroom. CNN admitting Trump's influence. Judge Pirro returning to prosecute actual environmental progress without the virtue signaling. Even their own media can't maintain the charade anymore. So to everyone who sent in Super Chats and Rumble Rants tonight, you are the backbone of the movement. Your support, your voices, your refusal to stay silent, that is what keeps truth alive in the empire of lies. Special shout out to all of our members who keep us broadcasting when big tech tries to pull the plug. So tell a friend about tonight's show. Text in the link. Bypass the algorithm. Spread the word person to person like patriots have always done. Hit our merch shop at shop.nextnewsnetwork.com. Wear your beliefs proudly. Remember, every purchase supports independent media that answers to you, not the corporate overlords. So, remember, this is not just another news cycle, my friends. This is history in motion. The Russia hoax exposed, legislators fleeing justice, the battle for our children's minds, economic revolution, and complete narrative collapse, all on a Monday. Yeah, the establishment thought they could memory hold the truth, gaslight you into submission, and rule through deception. Well, they thought wrong. Of course, tomorrow they'll try new lies, new schemes, new attacks on your freedom, but you will be ready because you watch the Raw feed. You get the truth, raw, unfiltered, and unstoppable. Remember, this week I will be traveling to Texas. I will be giving a toast from the main stage for the great Dr. Ron Paul celebrating his 90th birthday among senators, congressmen, diplomats, and the Ron Paul Revolution. It is going to be a great reunion. I look forward to being there. We will be carrying the live stream of the event on Saturday. I have confirmed this with their production team, but you'll be able to watch it here in a very special production. So make sure you have your Saturday wide open. It is going to be a marathon event. It is going to run from 10 a.m. in the morning till 8 p.m. at night. Yes, we're talking a 10-hour live stream, and it will be a money bomb. You'll see me. I'm sure you will see Angie. You'll see my kids. You'll see Ron Paul. You'll see Tulsi Gabbard. You'll see Rand Paul. You will see the greatest of the great. And I'll be there right in the middle of it, bringing you every play-by-play moment. I'll be doing a segment of my show here, but I'll be doing it from the VIP room exclusively for you guys live. There's an explicit request from the Ron Paul Young Americans for Liberty. So I'm looking forward to this. It's going to be an amazing, amazing week ahead. Make sure you keep it wide open. And until next time, I'm Gary Franchi, reminding you, stay vigilant, stay informed, and stay free. We'll see you next time on the Raw Feed. Good night, Patriots.